Welcome to the Scaringi Law Lunch Break. This is the time of day for you to learn a little bit about the law while you enjoy your lunch. Today we'll talk a little bit about international trade and the law that goes with it. This area has received a lot of attention in the media over the past couple of months and even longer since then candidate Donald Trump started talking about international trade, about U.S. trade deficits, and about tariffs. This has caused many American companies to think about international trade and to think about how they can get involved in selling their goods and services in foreign markets. At Scaringi Law, we can assist Pennsylvania and Maryland-based businesses that desire to export their goods or services overseas or desire to import foreign goods and services into the U.S. We can also represent import-export merchants and merchant companies. We can also assist foreign companies that wish to export their goods or services into Pennsylvania or Maryland. But today we'll talk about this issue from the perspective of the American manufacturer who wishes to sell its products to a foreign customer located in a foreign market. Now let's say the foreign customer has a large order to give you. You're the American manufacturer and you want the business. But of course, as the manufacturer, you've got to purchase the materials, the supplies. You have to requisition and deploy your workers to manufacture the products. And then you have to deliver the products to the foreign customer located in an overseas foreign market. There's a lot of risk involved in that from the perspective of the American manufacturer. How will you ensure that you get paid for your product? And I do get this question a lot from Pennsylvania and Maryland-based manufacturers. Now, what happens if the foreign customer doesn't pay you for the product you've made and delivered? For example, how do you take a Chinese customer located in China to court for failure to pay for the product you made according to his specifications and then delivered to him in China? He has your product and you don't have the money to pay for the product. If an American customer fails to pay you for your product, you can take him down to the local court and sue him and get an award in your favor and then attach his property or assets located in the U.S. Can you do that with a Chinese customer located in China? In a word, no. So you need to consider the use of letters of credit to shift the risk of non-payment from you off your shoulders and onto the shoulders of the bank that issues the letter of credit. A letter of credit involves a bank, a customer on whose behalf the letter of credit is issued, that's the applicant, that's your customer in China, and a person to whom payment from the letter of credit will flow. That's called the beneficiary, that's you. And how does it work? Well, you would require your Chinese customer to provide a letter of credit from a bank of your choice in an amount covering the product order purchase price. You would probably use an international bank that has an office in China and an office near you here in the U.S. The letter of credit constitutes the bank's irrevocable obligation to pay you for the products you have made and delivered per the foreign customer's order. Now, federal banking authorities have set forth a couple of rules for banks to follow when issuing, well, actually a lot of rules, but I'm just focusing on 5, when issuing letters of credit. 1, each letter of credit should be conspicuously entitled as such. 2, the letter of credit should have an expiration date. 3, the letter of credit should be limited in amount. 4, the bank's obligation to pay should only be on the presentation of specified documents and should not involve the bank in disputes over fact or law between the account party, the customer, and the beneficiary, that is you. And 5, the customer should have an unqualified obligation to reimburse the bank for the monies the bank pays you under the letter of credit. Now, here are just some basic legal tips, and then we'll talk about a few of the major types of letters of credit. 1, letters of credit are considered irrevocable. 2, every letter of credit will specify 2 key dates. The expiration date, that's the date you ship your goods to the foreign customer and present your shipping and other conforming documents to the bank for payment. And then the second date is the payment date, the date the bank pays you. Now, the beneficiary, that is you have to have documents that conform exactly to those required by the letter of credit, or the bank will not approve its payment to you. The bank bears the risk, remember, so your docs must be exactly correct and in conformity. Now, there are several types of letters of credit, and I'm not going to describe them all. I'll just talk about some of the most common. The most common is the documentary letter of credit, and that's the one I've been describing already. It requires you as the beneficiary to present your draft to the bank along with certain conforming documents, which would likely include proof of manufacture, proof of delivery, bills of lading, and other documents showing shipment. But there are also a couple of other major types. One, a revolving letter of credit. This is used when the customer will make multiple purchases from you, the manufacturer. Two, a partial shipments letter of credit. You are paid in part. Each part you make and deliver according to the total order. So you make part of and ship part and get paid in part. And then also there's a standby letter of credit, and this is used only when the customer defaults in his obligation to pay you. So you have a contract with the customer. Pursuant to the contract, he has to pay you. If he defaults, doesn't pay you, then you can utilize and pull down from the standby letter of credit and get paid from the bank. So a letter of credit is a way for an American manufacturer to shift the risk of non-payment by a foreign customer onto the shoulders of a bank that is willing to issue the letter. And this is just one option. We will consider other options to try to shift the risk of non-payment off your shoulders in further future videos. Well, there are lots of other issues touching upon international trade and international trade law. We'll talk about those in subsequent videos as well. That's about all the time we have today. I hope you've learned a little bit about international trade law and letters of credit and how they can help you get some level of insurance that you'll be paid if you start to manufacture and ship overseas. If you have any more questions about this topic or other legal areas, give me a call, 717-657-7770. And remember, enjoy your lunch.